I am not here to take one side or the other, or to advocate for any particular outcome of these proceedings. My sole purpose is to provide facts as I know them about the incidents in question, as well as my views about the strategic importance of Ukraine to the United States. I wrote that withholding security assistance in exchange for help with a domestic political campaign in the United States would be crazy. I believed that then, and I believe it now. Let me tell you why. There appeared to be two channels of U.S. policymaking and implementation, one regular and one highly irregular. When I arrived in Kyiv, the actions of both the regular and the irregular channels of foreign policy appeared to serve the same goal, a strong U.S.-Ukraine partnership. But it became clear to me by August that the channels had diverged in their objectives. As this occurred, I became increasingly concerned. By mid-July, it was becoming clear to me that the meeting President Zelensky wanted was conditioned on the investigations of Burisma and alleged Ukrainian interference in the 2016 U.S. elections. It was also clear that this condition was driven by the irregular policy channel I had come to understand was guided by Mr. Giuliani. On August 27th, Ambassador Bolton arrived in Kyiv and met with President Zelensky. During their meeting, security assistance was not discussed. As far as I knew, the Ukrainians were not aware of the hold until August 29th. I, on the other hand, was all too aware of and still troubled by the hold. Ambassador Sondland told me that President Trump had told him that he wants President Zelensky to state publicly that Ukraine will investigate Burisma and alleged Ukrainian interference in the 2016 election. Ambassador Sondland said everything was dependent on such an announcement, including security assistance. He said that President Trump wanted President Zelensky in a public box by making a public statement about ordering such investigations. Last Friday, a member of my staff told me of events that occurred on July 26th. While Ambassador Volker and I visited the front, this member of my staff accompanied Ambassador Sondland. Ambassador Sondland met with Mr. Yermak. Following that meeting, in the presence of my staff, at a restaurant, Ambassador Sondland called President Trump and told him of his meetings in Kyiv. Following the call with President Trump, the member of my staff asked Ambassador Sondland what President Trump thought about Ukraine. Ambassador Sondland responded that President Trump cares more about the investigations of Biden, which Giuliani was pressing for. At the time I gave my deposition on October 22nd, I was not aware of this information. I'm including it here for completeness. Ukraine is important to the security of the United States. The largest country in Europe by landmass, Ukraine is a young democracy struggling to join Europe and ally itself with the United States. It has been violently attacked by Russia, which continues its armed aggression against Ukraine to this day. We must support Ukraine in its fight against its bullying neighbor. Russian aggression cannot stand. And I'm now looking forward to your questions. Last Friday, a member of my staff told me of events that occurred on July 26th. While Ambassador Volker and I visited the front, this member of my staff accompanied Ambassador Sondland. Ambassador Sondland met with Mr. Yermak. Following that meeting, in the presence of my staff, at a restaurant, Ambassador Sondland called President Trump and told him of his meetings in Kyiv. The member of my staff could hear President Trump on the phone asking Ambassador Sondland about the investigations. Ambassador Sondland told President Trump the Ukrainians were ready to move forward. Following the call with President Trump, the member of my staff asked Ambassador Sondland what President Trump thought about Ukraine. Ambassador Sondland responded that President Trump cares more about the investigations of Biden, which Giuliani was pressing for. At the time I gave my deposition on October 22nd, I was not aware of this information. I'm including it here for completeness.
That phone call, this was a bombshell. This was new information. Remember, the now notorious, allegedly perfect phone call between the President of the United States and the President of Ukraine is July 25th. The next day, July 26th, Ambassador Sondland the ambassador to the European Union, which Ukraine is not in, which is one of the mysteries here, calls back to the White House and speaks to the president. And it's like in a movie. They're sitting there, and other people at the table are hearing the president's voice. And they go, and they hear him say, "What about the investigations?" Showing, as all this evidence shows, that the only thing the president cared about Ukraine, he didn't care if these people were dying. He didn't care about Russian invasion. He wanted these investigations.
Este es uno de varios lugares que abrieron aquí en la capital poco antes de que comenzaran las audiencias en la Comisión de Inteligencia en la Cámara de Representantes. Este específicamente queda solamente a pocas cuadras del Capitolio. Aquí muchos vinieron precisamente a poderle prestar atención a esta audiencia y estar un poco más calientito y sin las carreras de los pasillos del Capitolio de los Estados Unidos. Pues este bar ha preparado dos cócteles específicos para este día. Uno se llama Tengo 99 problemas, pero juicio político no es uno, que tiene, entre otros ingredientes, vodka. Y otro más es el juicio político, por favor, que tiene entre las variaciones de su cóctel natural un poco de bourbon.
Impeachment, please. Sí, está aquí.
¿Y te llamó la atención venir aquí por el trago, por el cóctel? ¿O?
Sí, por el cóctel y para ver eso.
¿Qué piensas de esto?
Es muy importante para los derechos de todos y para la historia de América.
Muy bien, gracias.
¿Por qué viniste aquí?
Porque hoy está un ejemplo de cómo funciona nuestra democracia.
¿Y te parece bueno lo que está pasando?
Sí.
¿Qué crees que va a pasar?
Quiero el juicio del presidente. Sí.
Bueno, a disfrutar, tómalo.
Gracias.
Bueno, así es como la ciudad de Washington vive el juicio político. Vamos a otro lugar. Y llegamos a Hawk and Dove. Ese es otro de los lugares que están abiertos desde muy temprano, pero la verdad es que, como en otras ocasiones, la cantidad de personas que han venido aquí no es la misma. Vamos a hablar con Angela, que es la administradora. Angela, what do you think happens? Why is not many people?
Yo creo que es porque hace frío afuera. Está muy frío para que la gente salga con estas temperaturas bajas.
Dave aquí, que es el bartender de este lugar, nos dice que para un miércoles al mediodía hay bastante público, hay bastantes clientes. Dave, what do you think is happening here?
La gente vino a ver las audiencias y el bar se ocupó mucho más, no el restaurante, sino el bar.
Es algo así como en DC.
Debe ser algo propio de Washington. Eso es lo que yo haría si no estuviera trabajando.
Bueno, en una ciudad política como Washington y con una tendencia relativamente liberal, pues otros lugares que visitamos no estaban tan llenos como tal vez esperaban. Y lo que sí nos dicen en varios de estos lugares es que especialmente durante las audiencias de James Comey, el exdirector del FBI, había sí un mayor número de personas atendiendo a este tipo de lugares que se conocen como los watch parties, o los lugares en donde se viene a ver eventos como, en esta ocasión, estas audiencias. Pero, de todas formas, el número de personas que han llegado es un poco diferente, más de lo normal, y eso es bueno para la ciudad, para los negocios y también, bueno, para los que les gusta la política. Yona Molinares, CNN, Washington.